BTS News Today. That night, the wind from the Han River blew gently. Seoul had settled into a calm, as if exhaling after the chaos of a long day. In one of the luxurious hotel suites not far from the river, the atmosphere was quiet. The room's lights were dim, leaving only a warm hue that touched the elegant wallpapered walls. Velvet curtains were half-drawn, revealing the city lights like a second sky. Jungkook stood near the window, slightly hunched. His shoulders rose and fell slowly, occasionally drawing in a deep breath as if trying to soothe the unrest inside him. His eyes stared out, gazing at the tall buildings that seemed to reflect memories he could never leave behind. In his hand, a cup of tea that had gone cold 20 minutes ago. The door opened quietly. Soft footsteps entered. Jungkook didn't turn around. He knew who it was. The scent of fresh floral perfume always reminded him of one woman he had long admired in silence, the mother of his dearest friend, Kim Taehyung. Jungkook, her voice was gentle, but carried a weight that couldn't be explained. Jungkook finally turned. His eyes slightly red, not from crying, but from holding back everything he should have let go long ago. Standing at the doorway was a woman clad in a modern cream-colored hanbok. Her hair was neatly tied in a bun, her smile faint, but her gaze sharp, as if piercing through the deepest layers of Jungkook's emotions. Mother. Jungkook forced a smile, stepped forward, and bowed respectfully. "Thank you for coming." She nodded softly and gently took Jungkook's arm without another word. She led him to sit on the long sofa in front of a small table that had already been prepared with fresh tea and traditional Korean snacks. Taehyung's mother always had a way of creating comfort, even in a room thick with invisible burdens. "I've wanted to speak with you for a long time," she said, looking at Jungkook's face, now sitting upright but looking like a child bracing for a scolding. "But you kept avoiding me." Jungkook sighed. "I didn't mean to, Mother. I just wasn't ready. Maybe no one's ever truly ready." Her voice was firm. "But there are things that must be faced, even if they hurt." Silence hung between them. Jungkook stared at the teacup in front of him, avoiding her gaze. He knew that whatever was about to be said wouldn't be light. "I know about that night," she finally said. Jungkook froze. His heart began to pound. That night, the night everything changed. The night Taehyung left them, left the world, in a way they could never be prepared for. "Taehyung never blamed you, Jungkook." Her voice was soft but resolute. "He loved you like a brother, like a shadow that never left his side. And I never blamed you either." Those words, the ones he never dared to hope for, hit Jungkook squarely in the chest. He felt breathless, as if he had been living underwater all this time. "Mother," his voice was barely a whisper. "If I hadn't let him go alone that night, maybe." "There is no maybe in reality, Jungkook," she cut in gently. "There's only what has happened, and how you live with it." Jungkook bowed his head. Tears began to fall, quietly streaming down his cold cheeks. "I dream of him every night," he murmured, "and blame myself every morning." She reached out, holding his trembling hand. Her touch was warm, like Taehyung's used to be. Warm and full of love. "I didn't come to reopen wounds," she said. "I came to free you from a burden that was never yours to carry alone." Jungkook looked at her, eyes filled with tears. "But why only now, Mother?" She gazed into his eyes. "Because I needed time too. Time to look at his photo without crying. Time to say his name without feeling my heart tear apart. But today, on his birthday, I know he wouldn't want to see us trapped in grief." Jungkook's eyes widened. He had forgotten. That day, the day of this unexpected meeting, was the date they always quietly celebrated. No party, just hugs, laughter, and one song Taehyung always sang on the dorm's balcony. Without thinking, Jungkook stood and walked to the small piano in the corner. His fingers trembled as they touched the cold keys. He drew a deep breath, then began to play the first notes of Taehyung's favorite song, the one that always made them laugh because of the off-key note at the end. Taehyung's mother sat still, watching him. Tears fell from her eyes one by one, but a smile remained on her face. When the song ended, silence filled the room. Then, in a soft but powerful voice, she said, "You weren't the reason Taehyung left, Jungkook. But you can be the reason his memory lives on beautifully." Jungkook closed his eyes. The tightness in his chest slowly lifted. The weight on his shoulders, carried for years, began to melt away with the tears he now let fall without shame. And that night, under the lights of Seoul, a young man finally embraced the mother of his friend, not to apologize, but to say thank you. Thank you for forgiving. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for saying the one sentence that changed everything. Taehyung never blamed you. And for the first time since Taehyung's passing, Jungkook felt that he could move forward, not by forgetting, but by remembering without guilt. Time moved slowly that night. The digital clock on the wall read 10:43 p.m., but for Jungkook, it felt like time had paused. His body still trembled from the long embrace. Across from him, Taehyung's mother sat calmly again, her eyes watching the flicker of a scented candle on the table. The aroma of lavender filled the room, wrapping them in comforting silence. "Taehyung used to talk about you every time he came home," she said suddenly, her voice like a whisper from the past. Not as a BTS member, not as the world-famous Jungkook, but as the Jungkook who made him laugh when his days felt empty. Jungkook looked down. A bittersweet smile formed on his lips. He could picture Taehyung at his kitchen table, eating his mother's seaweed soup, telling stories about their silly antics, buying ice cream at dawn, having drawing contests on dorm walls, or just sitting on the roof talking about the moon. He said, she continued, that one day he wanted to bring you home, not as a group mate, but as family. That word, family, echoed in Jungkook's head. His chest tightened again, not from sadness, but from a warmth he could no longer hold back. "I don't know, Jungkook," her eyes glistened. "Somehow I feel, if that night hadn't happened, maybe you'd already be in our home. Taehyung playing guitar, you singing, and me cooking kimchi jjigae for you both." A sob escaped Jungkook's throat. His hands clenched on his knees. "We almost did, Mother. Taehyung and I. We had plans. But that night, they had only planned a short walk to unwind after their world tour finale. Taehyung had said he wanted to talk to the stars alone, because sometimes I need to speak to them without anyone listening." Jungkook understood, or so he thought. He had let his friend go out alone, trusting everything would be fine. But no one is ever ready for a 3 a.m. phone call. The voice of the police, the ambulance, the sound of reality breaking everything. "There's something you need to know," she said, gently touching his wrist. "I didn't come only to comfort you. I came because Taehyung wanted you to know. He never truly left." Jungkook looked at her, confused. The night before he left, he wrote something on the back of a small painting he kept in his room. "We found it, too late, but I want you to read it tonight." From her handbag, she pulled out a small folded paper. It was old, creased from being opened too many times. She handed it with both hands, and Jungkook took it carefully, as if holding something more fragile than glass. Holding his breath, Jungkook unfolded the note. Taehyung's handwriting, he recognized it instantly, from the way his letter G, always curled, welcomed him.